Welcome to the S&D podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Daniel, aka Sunshine. And in this episode, we're going to get into Virginia Tech and the spring game from this year, 2026.
Cause my monsters are real, and that train had a kill, and there's no coming back, and they just laugh at how I feel.
There you go.
Starting off, the hype in Blacksburg this year is real around James Franklin. And I will say, I'm very impressed with the way Hokie Nation showed up and showed out for this spring game. This was a spring game. I'm going to alliterate that over and over a lot. I've been going 3 years now. I have never seen a crowd as big as I seen this past weekend. Looking at about, I think the number was around 40,000, and our stadium holds about 60 to 66, somewhere in that ballpark. I sat on the visitor side 50-yard line, and the only section that was empty was the seats up above me on the visitor side, like the higher up ones. Everything low was sold. Both end zones were filled. The home side, completely full, maroon and orange, including the skyboxes. Before we get into the game, our thoughts and prayers are out with the three gentlemen that did the flag flying in. One landed on the field awkwardly. Don't know if he messed up anything there. One they found on the practice field unconscious. Last we heard, he was okay and he is at the hospital. The third one, as everybody has seen, hit the scoreboard, and I mean, he hit it hard. Tore out the C and the H, and he had to stand there dangling for about basically 30, 45 minutes, but they finally got him down. So our thoughts and prayers are out with them, as well as we want to send a huge thank you to the first responders who were there and got jumped right into action right away to help that gentleman as quick as they could. So big shout out to Christiansburg and Blacksburg first responders. Now we're going to deep dive into the game a little bit, and I'm going to show you guys some videos that I took. Starting off, everybody's favorite thing, the entrance, Enter Sandman. 40,000 people jumping for the first Enter Sandman. Take a look at this video.
You can run on for a long time, for a long time, for a long time. Sooner or later, gotta hunt you down. A tremendous fake by Logan Thomas. Hard more has done it all, ladies and gentlemen. Tyron did it, Mikey. Tyron did it. You can run on for a long time, for a long time.
I don't know how you can't watch that and get hype. I mean, Enter Sandman. It don't matter if I'm at home watching a game or anything. I'm hyped anytime Enter Sandman comes on. I love Enter Sandman. I love Blacksburg. I'm so glad how they do the entrance. I think it's one of the best entrances in college football by far. Starting off first series, Maroon got the ball. They did get down the field and they did score pretty pretty quickly. I will admit I did like the kind of up tempo that they were running. That's something Tech's not used to as much. A lot of no huddle for the first series. I actually videoed the whole first series, and I'm going to show you guys parts and clips here. But starting off, we're going to talk about the quarterback, number 17, Ethan Grunkermeyer, I believe is how you say it. He's a redshirt sophomore from Ohio. He's actually the transfer that was brought in from Penn State with Coach Franklin. So this was our first time seeing him. Um, I will admit he was pretty decent. I think our quarterbacks, there's a lot of talent there. There is some young guys there that we don't know much about. Just as like Ethan Brunkemeyer, we didn't know much about him. He's a redshirt sophomore. He's got a pretty decent arm. He was very mobile, and when he was getting pressured, he would get out of the court, get out of the pocket as quick as he could. Um, didn't really see him throw the ball deep down the field, so I don't know how accurate he is. But for his short routes and his medium routes, he was quick getting it, firing it out, which I really like. Kind of like reminds me of like the Vic Tyrod, just quick to get the ball out, which is what you kind of need, kind of like Tom Brady. Like if you hold the ball for too long, you're going to get sacked, or you're going to have to make something happen with your legs, and sometimes that's not as good. The second quarterback we saw was number 22, who's a redshirt freshman, Bryce Baker, out of Kernsville, North Carolina. He was okay. He was more of your mobile, get out of the pocket and run quarterback and extend the play. And when he did that, he's not as quick with his reads as he should. Like he'll be in the pocket and there'll be a guy open and he's trying to look at another one and he's just not as quick as picking up on which one to throw it to. And that's okay. That's going to come with time. Like I said, he's a freshman. I'm interested to see how he does. They still haven't made a decision between who's going to be the starting QB. In my opinion, after watching yesterday, I think Ethan is going to be potentially the starter, and rightfully so. He's a year up on Bryce. He's got the better arm as of right now. I'll be interested to see what happens there. Um, Running back situation a little bit different. We've seen a bunch of different running backs. One yesterday that stood out to me was number 16, Jeffrey Overton, who is a redshirt freshman from Woodbridge, Virginia. I will admit, this kid showed me a lot. He had one play, and I wish I could have got it on video to show you guys, where he was taking off running, and I mean, he was about to get laid out, and he lowered his shoulder, and he busted right through that tackle, and it was huge. And after halftime, he had came out. He had broke 3 or 4 tackles, and I mean, he was gone. He's got speed, and that's what we're missing. He kind of reminds me of like the Ryan Williams, Kevin Jones type of runners, and that's what Blacksburg's been missing. Last year we had it. Then of course we lost it because of graduation. Go figure. But I expect the running back room is going to be just as good as it always has been. What I'm worried about more so is the passing game. But like we said, we'll figure out more in details. Hopefully, Coach Franklin will be announcing something sooner rather than later. The next running back that we saw was number 49, Deed Cooper. Um, he's a redshirt sophomore. Sorry, wrong person. He's our long snapper. Gary Peterson. Sorry. Actually from Appomattox, Virginia. So shout out to the Appomattox Raiders. He is a sophomore, and I will admit this kid showed some promise as well. They actually put him in the fourth quarter down near the goal line, and well, I'm gonna say red zone, not really the goal line. Came in when they got to the 20, and 2 runs, he was on the 1 yard line, and I mean it was pop pop. He broke through the tackles and lowered his shoulder. And he was fighting for that extra yardage, which I love in a running back. I love seeing a running back that's going to push and fight for that extra yardage. He did end up scoring on that drive, and that ended up being, I believe, the last touchdown for the white team to secure the victory over the maroon this year. Receivers, They're okay. We've got Aiden Green, who's been there for 4 years. He's going to be our number one receiver, in my opinion. He proved it yesterday. While he is the number one, he showed up, he showed out, and he balled out. Um, he's not afraid to get hit. He's also not afraid to go up and catch the ball when needed. And another big receiver is not really a receiver for us, but a tight end is Goss Now. He's returning as well. So those two I look to be our big receivers this year. Big main targets, especially down in the red zone. Tight end Gosh Now was our biggest target yesterday. Aiden Green was definitely getting the screen passes, the slant routes, the out routes, and he was making work with it. There was one receiver, I didn't catch the kid's name, that actually made a hell of a catch. Went up one handed and grabbed it. Great catch by him. I wished I could have remembered who it was, and I didn't get him written down. All in all, I think the offense is going to be okay this year, but until we figure out who the quarterback is starting and which running back they're going to start, it's kind of hard to really picture. And plus, the defense yesterday, which I'll get into a little bit more here shortly, the defense didn't hit like a normal live game would be. This was just a spring game, so they took it as a little bit easy. They were full padded, and they just took it a little easy on the hitting because you don't want to get injured. We did have two go down with injury. Haven't heard any report on them yet, but we'll keep you guys updated once we hear the report. Now, I will say the one thing that shocked me before the game started, they showed the coaches on the jumbotron. James Franklin, warm standing ovation, loud pop. I was a little surprised. They showed Brent Pry. He got a pop, and it was not booze as I was expecting it to be, but it was a nice pop. Anybody that's heard our episode previously when we all discussed it at the round table, I was not a big fan of Brent Pry a lot last year, and I'll admit that. He was not the best head coach. Now, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt as a defense. I'm still a little leery because I don't know what to expect. But I will say the defense looked pretty decent yesterday, and I think he's actually where he needs to be. He's not no Bud Foster by any means. I'm not saying that at all. Nobody will ever be Bud Foster. But I did see a lot of great things that I did like about the defense. Copeland, great job yesterday, as well as some of our defensive linemen really showed up and balled out. And I think when we looked at the numbers, it was like 10 total sacks that it could have been where they blew the whistle before actually sacking the quarterback. It was a total of 10. That's the most I've seen recently in years for Virginia Tech's defense. So I think the defensive line's looking pretty great this year. I think it's very strong. It's got a lot of depth. Linebackers, not too bad. I'm more so iffy on the safeties right now because there was a few passes that were pretty, in my opinion, should have been broken up, intercepted. Wasn't that many of those yesterday. I think it was like a total of two interceptions, one on each team. Um, but they were flying around. They've got the speed. So I will be curious to see. And like I said, I'm giving Pry the benefit of the doubt, and I hope he does very well. I like him as a person. I just, as a head coach, he was not the right guy for us. And I'm hoping now that we have James Franklin, there's so much hype around him. I hope he lives up to the hype. I really do. Because Virginia Tech is a special place. It's always been that way. Frank Beamer, it's a legacy. Bud Foster, the lunch pail D. So I'm really hoping that Brent Pry is where he needs to be, and I hope he's there, able to do his job and do it well, and we can keep him long term as a defensive coordinator. I mean, he did well at Penn State, and I'm hoping that's going to transpire here at Virginia Tech. And if it does, that's great. That's great news for us. Taking a look at our schedule, that's what's going to be interesting this year, in my opinion. I think it's probably one of the easiest schedules in football for us. So we kick off this season versus VMI on September the 5th. So looking at our schedule, I'm just going to go down the list here and tell you what we got. We have VMI at home. We come home against ODU. Then we travel to Maryland, travel to Boston College. And Boston College is our first kickoff for the ACC side of things. Then we come home for Pitt. We travel out to the west coast of California, which is going to be very interesting. We come home for Georgia Tech, and we turn around and go to Clemson, which I will be at, by the way, this year. So I will be there live, being able to keep you guys updated for the Clemson game. Then we come home, and then we have to turn around for the bye and travel to either SMU on a Friday or a Saturday. They haven't decided yet on that. Then we come home for Stanford. Then we take off and go to Miami and come home for Virginia. Senior day, Smithfield Commonwealth Clash versus the Virginia Cavaliers. Looking over this schedule, I was able to talk to one person yesterday. Not many people were interested in being on video for interviews, and that's okay. I did talk to one gentleman who was a senior. He predicted us being 10-2. And, looking at the schedule, I can see why he says that. I didn't ask him which two he thought would be losses. But me, looking at our schedule, honestly, I could see us at 9-3. I really could. So I'll start like this. VMI, ODU, Maryland, all 3 wins, in my opinion. Boston College should be a win considering how they did last year. Pitt could be a toss-up, but I'm counting it as a win for us. Cal, I'm counting it as a win. They were at the bottom of our division last year. Now we're getting into the stretch of games where I question what could happen. The one good thing about one of these 2 games is that it's a home game, Georgia Tech. They've got to come to us, and they always seem to have a little bit of issues in Blacksburg and Lane Stadium. I'm going to give us a win there, but then I'm going to turn around and give us a loss on the road at Clemson. That's going to be a very tough game. And to be honest, Clemson has been down lately, but I'm still iffy on what we have because we haven't really seen it in game form. And Clemson is just Clemson. Dabo, I much respect to him and his program. So I'm counting Clemson as a loss for us as of right now. SMU, Stanford should both be wins. And then we come Hard Rock Cafe on a Friday night in Miami, where 2 years ago we got screwed and they said it wasn't a catch after calling it a catch. So I'm hoping they're going to have some fire this year and really want some payback in that game. But unfortunately, I think that's going to be a heartbreaking loss for us. I think it's going to come down to the wire again, and I'm taking that as our second loss. Then we have Virginia. Last year they beat us. We didn't have nobody. I don't know what Virginia has this year. I didn't go to their spring game because it was the same day as ours, so I couldn't tell you what they have. I'm interested to see. I'm counting that as a win because it's a home game for us, and we usually play well against UVA, minus the fluke of last year. So 2 guaranteed losses with the third possibility of being Georgia Tech or Pitt. So I've got us at 9-3, 8-4, somewhere in that ballpark, which is still major improvement from 5-6 that we were a couple years ago, 6-6. So we're getting in the right direction if we get that. Now, granted, we have a cream puff schedule. We always have. But I'm hoping that's going to change with Franklin. He's going to bring in more competition and let us compete with the best. It's going to be an interesting year. I'm hoping to be at a few more games than just the one on the road. So I'm looking forward to it. And I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know what your thoughts are about this upcoming season, what your predictions are.
That man's okay that got hung up on the scoreboard. Most importantly. And I want to thank the fans and the community. You've been unbelievable since the day we arrived. And I want to make sure that everybody understands this. We're doing this thing together. As a family, as a community, lettermen, players, coaches, and we're going to shock the world together. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
We just want to thank you guys for listening to the S&D podcast today. We just want to appreciate everybody for tuning in. Just remember, you can check us out on Apple, YouTube, and Spotify. And we look forward to talking to you guys in our next episode. Yes, sir.